gratitude, thanking yourself, thanking your practice, being grateful for all that your body and your mind is wanting and taking you through. Very, very gently. Setting the intention to take that gratitude into the rest of your day. And just making your eyes open in your own time. Namaste.
Awesome. You just ended your physical session, asana session?
Yeah, we had one ourselves. We had no teacher.
Ah, that's okay. Don't worry about that.
Namaste,
Yeah, the network.
Swamiji.
Namaste, Sadhguru. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. The network has been really like we haven't had proper electricity or Wi-Fi over here since the past 2 days, so we weren't able to have classes. So today, finally, the mobile network is back. The electricity is still out. Let's see. I hope the class goes smoothly. Okay. So we're just ending philosophy syllabus today. And if I have time, I will introduce mudras to you guys. Okay. So let's begin today's session. Yeah. So since you guys have already closed with Om and Shanti, I'm going to begin directly. I'll close the session for you guys. Okay. So we were at Ashtanga Yoga when we, last philosophy class, in the last philosophy class, we had discussed we had reached about to begin Ashtanga Yoga, yeah, as per Patanjali ji. So let's start with Ashtanga Yoga only. So we are talking about the 8 limbs, and I had written down all 8 names that day. Yeah, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Okay. Yeah. So let's begin one by one and start understanding each and every step. You can grab your notebooks, take your time, and then I will start with the topic. Any doubts until then? Anybody has any doubt that I can clear, or anything that is unclear to you in general? Feel free to ask. Okay, great. So I'll dive directly into Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah. So the first limb. So he gave a step-by-step process again for a beginner. However, like I have mentioned earlier, over here the beginner is still at a very advanced stage already, and that is why he started with Yam and Niyam. Okay. Eventually, like in Hatha classes also, I would have mentioned, eventually what started happening was Yam and Niyam, they started becoming barriers instead of assisting people. So they were removed, and schools like Hatha Yoga came into existence, where the practice directly started from asana. Yeah. So if we go a little bit more back, so Hatha Yoga is quite recent, I would say, but Raj Yoga has existed for a while, and even though Hatha Yoga was there as a part of Raj Yoga, the meaning of asana, pranayam, everything was very different when Maharishi Patanjali wrote his text, because at that point of time, air was cleaner, water was cleaner, so everybody, food was, very organic. So the flexibility did not require, like, did not have so much to do with how you move your body. Rather, your environment was already so fresh and well that you didn't need to release any toxins from the body, or very little practice was required, even if they had to do those things. So they directly started from Yam and Niyam, where Patanjali ji emphasized on the way of existing in society and the way of existing with oneself. So Yam talk about how we are going to interact with the society, and Niyam talk about the personal way in which you have to conduct yourself. Okay, so this is the difference between both of them, and these two form the basis of the further practices. So Patanjali ji said that once you get established in one, then move to the next, then move to the third, then like this, uh, keep taking one step at a time and move ahead in your journey. Okay, that doesn't mean that sometimes what happens is, especially when you go to the last three limbs, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So when you touch samadhi, you come back also. Then again, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Then you come back. So that doesn't mean you're not taking a step back, because you cannot force this process, right? I cannot decide if I am able to stay in samadhi or not. It's just a state that, eventually comes out of a prolonged state of dhyan, and like it comes out of a prolonged state of dhyan, it can go back also. So that is not up to us. However, when we start following, we just have to make sure we are going one step at a time. Okay, so doesn't mean that you won't come back from samadhi once you touch samadhi. That is not in our hands again, but we have to go step by step. Okay, rest, the process is happening. It is totally up to whatever is happening. Yeah. So when he talked of Yam, he said, how do you exist in the society? Because he understood that for a normal person, it is very hard to leave the society behind, right? So in the society, how do you exist? There is a correct way of existing, a correct behavior, or I can say more than behavior, yamas are actually a state of mind. Okay, so what is the state of mind that you should have when you are existing in the society? So he talked of the first yam, he said ahimsa, okay, or non-violence. I will write this down in the chat box also. AHIMSA, ahimsa or non-violence. Okay, so he said that a person who is existing in the society must practice this thing, must have this state of mind where it's not necessary that your profession, or you are specifically going outside and killing someone. It's not necessary. In our mind also we have so many thoughts. Yeah, sometimes random thoughts come up, especially in meditation. You would have seen a lot of random thoughts, and you never thought you were that person who would have those thoughts. Those moments also come up. So even on a mental level, the yogi does not have this, will. The will to kill is totally gone. Even on a mental level, there is no thought which would harm anybody. So there is no harm that is being caused by the thought. So for a beginner level, we can at least work on our own actions. Yes, we can try not to, like sometimes, when there are a lot of mosquitoes, you feel like killing the mosquito because it's making too much sound or it's irritating you so much. So for us, what we can start working on is try to see these small actions and try to get some, attach our mind with the action. So to not kill that insect, maybe for someone that would be a very big achievement. So start working on these things, like wherever you feel you are harming someone, okay, try to work on those actions so that you are in a state where there is no violence taking place. When I say the word violence, it doesn't necessarily have those characteristics that come to your mind. Yeah, we see someone, killing, or being very aggressive towards someone else. It's not necessarily just that. It comes on a very deep level also. So you have to start working on these things, and step by step you will reach a point where you will be able to come out of them. Okay. Second thing he said, satya or truth. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So we were talking about truth, satya or truth. Yeah. So next thing that they said was whenever you are existing among people or whenever you are existing in the society, second thing that should reflect in your behavior is that you are a truthful person. For common understanding, we can say that when somebody tells the truth, they become much more trustworthy, right? So if you know somebody is going to speak the truth, you will trust them more and you will be sure that if you are interacting with them, you will always get the right thing out of that conversation, right? So for us, understanding it in this way, that when somebody speaks the truth, they become much more credible for us, is a very common way of understanding this, like on a beginner level. This is what truth does. But on a deeper level, whenever you lie, even in the mind, we lie so many times to ourselves because we cannot accept something about our life or ourselves or the people around us. Even on that level, when you go to a very subtle level, this truth is the only reality. And what kind of truth? Not subjective truth. Suppose two people are in a conflict, one says something, the other says something. If you're friends with one side, you will believe them and you will think they are correct. But sometimes what happens is there is a mutual friend, so they listen to both the sides and they come to this conclusion that both of them are correct in their own thinking pattern, right? So we are not talking of the subjective truth over here, we are talking of the universal truth over there. There are some realities that exist and have always existed and will always exist. So, when one is talking of the truth, one is talking about the understanding of this truth and not denying this truth, you know, like Siddharth Gautam, when he came, he said that suffering is inevitable, suffering is a part of life, right? So, when he talked of this, he meant this thing only, that this is the universal truth. No matter what you do, no matter where you exist in this world, everybody eventually comes to this understanding that there is suffering in life. You cannot change this on the basis of the color or the religion or where you are born. All of these things exist, right? So, being in touch with the universal truth and acting according to that, you know, that everything change is the only permanent thing, and this is a truth, and we do not live like this. We live as if, our lives are going to be permanent, we're going to live forever, right? Everything that, from how you make your decisions, when you go deeper, you will realize you're making those decisions on the basis of life being impermanent, life being infinite for you. However, the person who is born is going to die one day, right? This is the universal truth that exists. So, functioning in accordance with this in the society is the truth that is being talked of when he talks of truth. Then he talks of aste, ASTEYA, aste, or we can also call this non stealing. If you have any doubt at any point of time, just unmute yourself and feel free to ask. Okay. Yeah. So aste or non-stealing. So then he moved on to say that, you exist in a society where some people will possess something and others possess other things. And you will have, this is the human tendency to want to have the things that we do not have. And especially when we see someone who has them, we have this emotion of, I also want to have that. So when this takes you in a negative turn, that is the aste he's talking about, that is when you want to, you generate very negative emotions towards that thing. However, some people, when they find themselves in certain such situations, they go towards the other side. What they do is they get inspired. So when you are actually, when that thing is pushing you to work towards your own goal, that is not the sentiment we are talking about. We're talking about how the negative emotion is generated, and then this eventual desire to steal comes into our mind. And this doesn't always happen like I just take something without somebody's permission. No, even ideas, we download so many movies without paying for them. All of these very little actions are coming in our day to day life, which we think we, because everything on the internet is so open these days, we feel that we have the right to possess. However, taking permission is always very important. Whenever you are on the path of you will understand that, taking the permission is so important. Whenever you're trying to attain something which is not yours, always ask. We can, for a beginner, we can start with this level. Always ask before taking that, and slowly this will go deeper and deeper and will reflect very deeply in your behavior. Okay, however you conduct yourself, your entire behavior will change if you just incorporate yamas and niyamas in your life. You do not need to reach asana pranayam. These are very big things. Like when you look at a particular asana, you are just like, okay, I need to achieve this asana. So those are big things. I would say yamas and niyamas are very practical ways of changing your life. If you want to incorporate something in your life, it is actually worth giving yamas and niyamas, like that time to yamas and niyamas and working on them. Okay. Then we come to the fourth one, aparigraha or non-possessive. So then he said that this attitude, it is so hard to develop this attitude of non-possessiveness, you know. Uh, Let me narrate my own story only, which I had with this, and then I had a realization. So my sister and I have an elder sister, so she is like very socially active. So she loves doing social work, and as a part of that, she's connected to a lot of NGOs, and one of them, like, she really loves to donate the clothes that she is not using. Okay, so every once in a while, this cycle goes in our house that she asks everybody, whatever you're not using, just give that. I'm going to donate anyway, so I will add those clones as well, and then I'll go into. So one day she came to me. It was lockdown, and she came to me and she was just like, you know what, I'm going again, and I'm going to donate certain clothes. And why don't you go and check your closet, and whatever you feel you're not using, just make a bundle and then give those to me. So I said, okay, I will do that. So eventually, what happened was I took up time, and I was clearing out my closet and going through all the clothes, whatever I'm not wearing, which clothes I'm wearing. So eventually, what happened was, how the mind tricks you. Sometimes So I love only wearing a few clothes in my life, but I like to own more. Okay. So my, I started sorting out, and then that is when I observed how my mind is, trying to keep each and every t-shirt that I have. So the excuses that came up in my mind were just like, this one I haven't even worn once, so I should keep it. I haven't even worn that once since somebody gave it to me, but I should keep it because you know I haven't worn it once. Then the clothes that were getting worn out, so second instinct is okay, the person will at least have the tendency to give those away. So but no, when I looked at those t-shirts which were really old, I was just like, but these are so old, they have lasted for so many years, and I love this color. Then those ones also I don't want to give away. So now the t-shirts which were not new, not very old, those that category came in. And that is when I, my mind was tricking me so much. So I still remember I was looking at a few t-shirts in that category, and I was just like, okay, you know what? This color, I only have one t-shirt, so let me keep this one. Then I was just like, this one, this pattern, only one t-shirt I have, so I should keep this one. And the bundle, which should have been this big, was finally this big. Why? Because so much desire to possess everything. And eventually I only wear 2 to 3 t-shirts that I like. And apart from them, others are just kept in my almirah, not being used by me. And I did not even have the will to give it to someone who could have used them. So this is the level at which my mind, that was one incident where I noticed how my mind was working. It so happened that I was able to at least notice what was happening. So when this thing happened, I was just like, okay, this is possessiveness seeping into my own habit pattern of what I'm keeping, what I'm not keeping. So be very aware of this one, because this is going to show up in a lot of small things, being possessive of things. So it's not just being possessive of places, people in your life, it's also being possessive of your things, of your ideas, not wanting to share them. All of these things do tend to happen on a very deep level. So he said that whenever you will, if somebody does not have this possessive attitude, nobody in the society would feel that scarcity. you know don't you think there are enough clothes in this world so that uh, people everyone would have at least 2 to 3 pairs of clothes? So many clothes are being produced every day. There is so much pollution that is being created because of that. But you will still find people who are homeless, who do not have clothes, basic necessities like clothes, they do not have. Why is this happening? Because of this entire, madness in the human world related to possessiveness. And it's very sad to see this thing when this happens, because everybody deserves to have at least 2 to 3 pairs of clothes, and there are so many clothes out there, but people still do not have clothes to wear. That's something to give a thought, really. It is how we are acting, why we are behaving in this way. Why do we have this tendency to always just acquire? Why not give? you know why not reduce the pollution that is there? If clothes, like you know so many clothes are being produced because of that, so much pollution in the textile industry, it's there. So we can, when we come in touch with yoga, we become sensitive, and we can work on these things. At least we become aware of our own attitude, in the way which we function in the society. So we can become that change. We can start that thing where we start first, we will start, and then everyone around us eventually will get encouraged, will see that thing, and will start working on those things. It just starts with you and your loved ones, and then you will never really know how big that ripple could be. So you can definitely work on these things. I think yoga actually more than anything else teaches us this attitude, change in our mind, the attitude that we have towards things, right? So, and the last one. So we are just done with the yamas right now. We have 5 niyamas also. The last one, which I left for the last only for a reason. This one, Brahmacharya, Bhramacharya, Brahmacharya. So even though I have written celibacy along with this is not the actual meaning. So in English, like I said, when you translate the word, this is the literal translation that you would find. But when I'm going to explain, you will understand the real meaning of this thing. There is no, I would say, direct translation of this word, but generally it is understood like this. And this is exactly the reason why I left this for the last, yama, to discuss it at the end. Okay. So this is very commonly known as celibacy or not using your sexual energy. Okay. So a lot of people come in a lot of conflict and doubt when they come into spirituality, and this thing is talked of. So they just say, I will follow every other thing, but not this one. And for them or for anyone, this is one yama which can never be forced. If it is forced, you will end up suppressing your desires, and it is a very tricky, very slippery slope, I would say. It's a very tricky thing. So, brahmacharya actually, when we talk of this, a wider meaning of brahmacharya is Brahm ka acharan. Okay, so I said this in Hindi. So, Brahma is a god, you must have heard of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, right? So, Brahma, the creator, the god who created this world. They're saying that behavior like Brahma, when they talk of brahmacharya, how would that, God conduct himself? That is the sense in which brahmacharya is generally talked of, rather than just saying that, abstain from sexual encounters. No. Sexual activity. No. They're not talking about that. They are. On a particular level, they are. But it just doesn't end over there. So your behavior should be like the creator, the god of creation, So yogi, whenever you meet a yogi, he has that behavior, the behavior, a godlike behavior, and not just in the superiority sense I'm talking, the way in which he conducts himself. He imbibes the qualities of God. When he thinks of God, he doesn't think of, God being somebody powerful or somebody people praise. He sees the quality, the kindness, the peace that uh, Christ offered when he came, his love. He loved so much, he loved everyone so much that he gave his life. Can you think of yourself being so loving that you would give your life? And Jesus saw that they were sinning, and his compassion was so high that he was just like, let me go. And with my going, they might be released of their sins. So he had such deep compassion when, he gave his life for everyone, for human beings. So that when you meet a yogi, you will see that God-like qualities, those God-like qualities, being aware of himself, being aware of everything around him, you know, respecting everything, seeing God in everything. Whenever you interact with a yogi, you will see how the yogi can, see himself in you. And that is the way in which they interact with you, like you are a part of them only. So they see that the soul, the energy is the same. The energy that exists in you and me, it's the same. And why should I treat you any differently, And you will see this attitude. So yes, of course, to attain this, you know, they have to reach a point where the energy which escapes the body from down, they have to control that energy, and that is actually the energy which leads to creation. That is how powerful that energy is. So the yogi can actually control that energy and direct it upwards, and it is only that energy which, when directed upwards, can lead to liberation, because it has such, immense quality, it has such immense power that it can lead to creation. How beautiful. When, you know when it escapes the body, it leads to the creation of a human child. And when the yogi reaches that level, he is actually able to take that energy so that it travels up, so that he can experience moksha or liberation. So that is what is being talked about, not suppressing your desire. And this desire goes away at a very later, higher stage. So we are just beginners. We cannot think of coming out of this. But a Raj Yogi is already at a very high level. So the Raj Yogi can work on this. Can, be aware, create awareness in this aspect or area. Okay. So let me move to niyamas. So I hope this all of these things are clear, like there are no doubts. If there are any doubts, please feel free to ask. Okay, great. So let's move to the next topic then, niyamas. Niyamas are how you have to conduct your own self. Okay. How you are going to live with your own self. Okay. So first thing that he said was shoch. Cleanliness. Saucha, short, or cleanliness. So Patanjali ji talks of this, how you're going to maintain yourself. Cleanliness, hygiene is so important for us. Going taking a bath, you will see, I'm not only talking about it as a, just cleanliness. See yourself, observe. Whenever you go and take a bath, you feel so fresh. Before the bath, you feel a certain way, and when you take a bath, after that, you feel a certain way. So, on a very physical level, just cleaning, keeping the body clean, making sure your nails are cut, you're grooming yourself properly. All of these things, on a physical level, these can be understood as short or cleanliness. Every day, whenever you bathe, you follow a particular routine of keeping the body clean, you yourself feel good about it. So, and somebody who is not in the mood, they do not feel too good about themselves. At least in my experience, I have seen, even though people do not like to maintain that hygiene, they're not very happy either. Yeah, so I haven't seen somebody who is happy and at the same time unhygienic. At least no one has crossed in my experience. Nobody till now has like uh, crossed my life who is experiencing both things at the same time. Even I myself, sometimes whenever I feel too lazy, you know I'm feeling lazy. So not feeling too good whenever I skip, whenever like I skip cutting my nails. Especially, I just cannot like have long nails. So whenever I see that my nails are like getting too long and I'm being too lazy about cutting them, the day that I cut them, I feel so good. I cannot even tell you that feeling. So this thing that, these little things, they add up to how we feel, how our mood is every day. So he said maintain cleanliness, and not only external cleanliness, I'm talking about cleaning the body right now. Internal cleanliness, your thoughts, they also need to be cleaned, you know like the body, every once in a while, they also have to be cleaned, they also have to be taken care of. So meditation, things like, self introspection, swadhyay, which we talked of when we were talking of kriya yoga. And he has mentioned this as a part of niyamas, or swadhyay, or self introspection. So when you are actually observing your own thoughts, when you are introspecting, that is when you will see how much, dirt there is in the thoughts. And once you see that, that is when you can start working, you can start meditating, you can start journaling. There are so many ways to reflect. You can start reading the right books which help you to reflect and, cleanse that thing within you, so that you are at least able to get to a state of mind where you are feeling much more stable, much more better. Yeah. So when he talks of cleanliness, he's talking about both external and internal cleanliness. Yeah. Just give me a moment. Sorry. Okay. So then let's move to the next one. He talked of santosh, or satisfaction. You know, when he talks of satisfaction, and he says that it is so important to be satisfied in life. It's actually a way of living. We have so many goals, so many aspirations in our lives, and it is always good to chase them. There is nothing bad in that. However, we should chase them with a sense of satisfaction that, you know, everything that you need, that you desire, you already have it. Maintaining that attitude, because what happens is when you achieve something, then you again have the desire to achieve something new. So these desires just keep coming up. So it doesn't matter what desire it is, no matter how many years you will take to achieve whatever desire there is within. Once you reach that point, after that, for a while, you will appreciate that thing, and again, you will get into the circle of desiring something else. That is just the way in which the human mind exists. No desire is ever able to, fulfill you or lead you to liberation, because if desires were the way to go to liberation, I have so many. And I do not find any satisfaction. Even though I want to achieve a lot of things, all of you might also want to achieve a lot of things. It is good to have them. But if there is no sense of satisfaction, nor am I happy in the process of attaining whatever I want to attain, and nor will I be happy if I attain that thing, because there is no sense of satisfaction in my mind. The only way in which I have trained my mind is to just run from one desire to the other. I don't know where I'm running, right? But the training of the mind is done in such a way where, I just want to reach one desire, then the next. And I'm not able to get a sense of satisfaction in the now. I haven't trained my mind. It's just a way of, looking at things. It's just a way of training the mind. If you're happy now, you will be happy, you know, in the future also. There's no doubt about it if you have created satisfaction. But if you're crying today about something, and then you think that, when I will achieve this, I will smile. No, you will still have, a crying face. Most people do. Most people I have come across, myself included, at a particular point of time. I was crying in that situation also. Then when I achieved that thing that I was looking for which I was crying, when I achieved that, then also I was crying, because then there was something new when am I going to be happy? I question that. And that is when I realized I can only choose to be happy right now. I can only choose that I will be satisfied right now. And if I attain that goal, good enough. If I don't, I'm still satisfied, right? So you have nothing to lose. You gain so much strength and, courage, confidence out of just changing this one attitude in your life. But you just have to be satisfied wherever you are. And trust me, all of you, everybody who is listening to this or attending the class right now, later on, no matter what, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Trust me on this one. And it is worth being satisfied. Like, no matter what we are going through, it's exactly where we are meant to be. And it's okay. We are still working on, increasing our yoga sadhana, and we will always be working until the last point, the point of yoga. We are going to keep working towards that. So let's enjoy the journey rather than just feeling that if I reach that point. Yeah. So let's try to find the, satisfaction in just the process rather than the goal. The goal has its own satisfaction, but even the process does. And most of us forget about the process. We are so obsessed with the goal. We forget that there is so much beauty in the process also. So he said it's so important to cultivate this santosh or satisfaction, because most of the time you're going to be in the journey. We're not going to jump from one goal to the other and next morning you wake up, you will attain another goal, then another goal. That's not how it works, right? Most of your goals, they will require a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, patience, sticking to things even when you don't want to stick to them, that kind of thing. So let's try to enjoy. Most of your life is going to go in the process. So let's enjoy the process rather than just the goal. Okay. So he talked of Santosh, then he talked of the three things we have already discussed so many times: Tap, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Pranidhan. We have discussed this in Kriya Yoga also. For those of you who haven't watched that class, go and watch the class on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I have discussed these in depth over there. What does Tap mean, Swadhyay mean, Ishwar Pranidhan means. So each and every one of them build up to prepare you for the stage of asana. Okay, so next stage is asana or posture. Then he says, now you are ready. So see, we have attained so much stability in the mind till this time, till the time you reach asana, that now, because so many dualities have already ceased to exist, the asana, you will be able to hold the asana for a long period of time. By default you will be able to, because most of the times when the mind moves, that is when we feel like moving the body. You would have seen a lot of people, shaking their legs, like sitting somewhere and just their legs are moving because the mind is moving. It's not the leg that is moving, it's actually the mind which is moving so fast so that the leg is moving. So when you work on yam and niyam, you will get prepared for the stage of asana. And for Patanjali ji, asana just means a posture in which you are comfortable and you are stable. That's it. He didn't say do this asana or you have to stand on your head or hand or finger or elbow. You know, he did not mean that. He said asana is something you do to, reach to the point where you can actually meditate. You're preparing yourself for meditation. Just give me a. I think my video is breaking. Hmm. Okay. Okay. I think it will still be a little bit unstable. Let me switch off the video. so that my voice remains pretty clear. Okay. So he talked of posture, and when he talked of posture, he said that the dualities in the body, when you feel heat and cold, there are so many dualities of the body, and same with the mind. So happiness and sorrow. So he said, asan, when you sit in a stable and comfortable posture, then you know go beyond these dualities of both the body and the mind. You go beyond the dualities, and that is when you are able to reach to a point where you can proceed to the next step, which is pranayama. So asan is actually just a way of sitting. Asan literally means just a way of sitting. And I told you one more meaning of asana also in the previous classes, where I said that whatever you are sitting on, that is also called how your asana should be talked of. Dhyan yoga has been discussed in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is where Krishna ji tells how the the thing on which you are about that thing. So you can go and read that. However, Patanjali ji only talked of it as a way of sitting. Okay, let's move to the next limb, which is pranayam, the 4th limb. Okay, so when he came to pranayam, he said now the mind is pretty much stable, the body is also quite stable when you know uh, master the asana. Will start the pran in the body. The vital force. This we have discussed in detail in the pranayam classes also. Yeah. So he said there are only, he mentioned 4 types of pranayam, where he said first, second pranayam for him is rechaka or exhalation, and third one is actually retention. So kumbha, he talks of retention as the third pranayama. Okay, so these are the 3 processes only pranayama. Instead of going ahead and recommending different exercises like we learned in the pranayama classes, he said that Puraka, Richaka, and Kumbhaka, these 3 are actually pranayamas. Okay, so there is such a vast difference between Hatha Yoga and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, when he is using the same word but he means a different thing. Then he moved on and he said that the 4th pranayam that he mentions is the Kevali Kumbhak. This you would have read in Hatha Yoga also. This is a very higher advanced level practice where the breath in itself stops. So the breathing process, it stops, and this comes very naturally. So after a while he understood that the inhalation and exhalation is actually disturbing your meditation. So when you go very deep in meditation, your breath will start disturbing you rather than supporting you. So that point, he said, that is the point where you have to develop a natural kumbhak. And that natural kumbhak that comes in from continuous practice of puraka, rechaka, and kumbhaka, that point where the breath in itself very naturally is retained, is actually called kevali kumbhak. Okay. So we talked of these 4 pranayams, and the main goal of pranayam is to reach to the 4th pranayam, actually. Okay. Then let's go to the next limb, right? Let me try. Okay, now it's stable. Okay. So then he moved on to the next stage where he talked of pratyahar, in which first 5 limbs are actually called bahirang yoga, or external limbs. Bahirang. Okay. Bahir is like the same I told you in pranayam class, BAHIR. Bahir. Ang. ANGA. Bahirang. External limbs. Even though the 5th one is actually a bridge between the internal and external. Pratyahar is actually a bridge between the external limbs and the internal limb, but still comes in the external limb. And the last three, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi, are actually internal limbs. You know, so pratyahar, he said, when one reaches the stage where they gain control over their prana, now they need to understand how they have to direct that prana, right? So the main goal is not to gain control. It is actually knowing where to put that energy. So he said it is very essential at this point of time that you cut off from all the senses and divert all your attention inward so that you can work on that energy and direct it in the proper manner to in accordance with your goal to achieve the final goal. Okay, so pratyahar, fifth stage, he said, withdrawal of senses, where you cut off from all of your senses and you close your eyes, right? You start disconnecting with the sounds also when you start meditating. There are certain instructions that are given to you: back, neck straight, close your eyes. So what are you doing? You're preparing yourself to go into dharana. Most of your meditation classes, you have been working with dharana, and there would have been slight moments where you would have touched the point where you would have reached dhyan. Yeah. So he said it is very important because once one is connected with the senses, their senses have so much control right now that they will go run behind the senses. However, our goal is actually to go inward. So he said that for a beginner, it is very important to go through the stage of pratyahar where they are able to cut off from the senses and then work with the object that they have chosen. Okay. Then he came to dharana. He said, now choose that object which you like the most. Okay. So he said, bye bye. All the best. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Arey, bye bye. Sorry. Yeah. So then he said that choose the object which you like the most. Okay, at this point of time, the relevance of the object increases a lot. Why? Because now you are, now you're going to use that object to reach a stage where you come into absorption. Okay, so samadhi or absorption is that stage where you are there is just the object, right? So he said, first choose the object. You have to be very careful when you choose the object. Whichever object you connect with, there are so many meditations that you have done throughout your classes. So choose the object. And once you choose the object, try to stay with the object. Try to make that entire process effortless. So initially, you will see there is a lot of effort. When students sit for meditation, first thing, everything they have been trying to get rid of, that comes up in their mind, or they're trying to get rid of thoughts generally, but thoughts seem to cloud them and they disconnect them from their object. So that entire process where you're still trying to make that connection with the object, and there is so much effort that is being put in. So concentration or dharana is that point where there is still so much obstruction. Again and again you connect and then you disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect, right? So this goes on. Just one moment. It's the closing day for offline courses, so a lot of students are leaving today. So, yeah. So, yeah, dharna. Again, if I start pouring down this water, right, from over here, I pour down this water and there is a gush of wind. The water will move along with the wind, right? So, that point, this example is a very good example of dharna, where you are pouring the water, but there are so many thoughts that the water is moving with the wind. With the gush of the wind, the water moves. Okay, concentration. And naturally, at one point of time, you will work so much on your concentration that you will naturally reach the state of meditation or dhyan. Now it is like in this bottle, I fill up oil and I pour down the oil from over here, and then a gush of wind comes. And that oil, you will always see. You can also try this. When you pour down oil and there is a gush of wind, the oil does not break. The flow of the oil falling down does not break. It will go in a very straight line. So when there are so many thoughts that are still coming in, but you are connected to the object for a long period of time, there is no effort, it comes naturally. That point he called dhyan or meditation. And he said that it is just a product of working on concentration. So throughout your meditation classes, you are working on concentration, but it will lead you to a point where you reach to meditation. Okay. And samadhi is also an extension of meditation only, where you are connected to the object for such a long period of time that only the essence of the object remains. Okay. So suppose you choose tratak, you choose, a diya on the flame you are concentrating. So initially you will find, a lot of blinking is happening. Then with continuous practice, you will find, you are just able to be with the process. Your eyes are open for a very long period of time and you're just connected to that flame, right? And then there would be a point in your sadhana, in your meditation also, when it goes so deep that only the essence of that flame, the light, so the essence of the flame of fire is, the light, the warmth, right? So only this essence will remain. Then you will not distinguish it as, it being a diya, you know you will not distinguish that, okay, this light is different from this light or that light, this is how it is. You will forget the shape, everything will be forgotten, just the essence of the diya, the warmth, or the illumination, the essence of that lighting that diya, that will remain with you, and everything else will be forgotten. That is when you are absorbed in your object and you attain the stage of samadhi, and you keep coming back at times, and sometimes you are able to even prolong this. So sometimes it will break, sometimes it will be continuous. It depends on how much practice, again, how much practice you are putting into this entire process. So he said that these are, and then you will find of liberation, which he called kevalya. Once again, the final point of samadhi he called kevalya, and you reach kevalya, that is your end goal. And entire world around you, you will see God, or whatever you want to call that thing, in everything, and you will see how you are a part of it, and how everything is a part of you. There is no distinguish anymore that I am this and that thing is that. Everything is one for the yogi, right? Any doubts in any of this? Okay, great.
No, thank you.
Uh, Great. So let me just take 5 minutes more. I will just briefly introduce mudras to you. There are not a lot of watch videos for that, and even go through your manual. Just check your course online, see how many mudras are there for you, because it might happen that in the manual a lot of mudras are mentioned. So you don't, in your course you do not have all of them. You can of course go through them for your own knowledge, for your own deeper study of yoga. You only have 3 or 4, I think. So mudras, let me just touch upon this topic a little bit. So mudras are actually just gestures, and this gesture doesn't necessarily have to be from the body. Okay, it can be, sorry, it doesn't necessarily have to be from the hands. It can be from the body also. There are so many other ways of doing mudras. There are 5 total categories of mudras, and all of that is mentioned in your manual. So I'm not going to go in depth about this. Okay. However, I just want you to understand the essence of mudras, know the types, what mudras are. You should understand the essence of energy comes in and
Teacher,
in the
excuse
same way,
teacher,
if there is a way of sorry,
your voice is cutting.
voice is breaking. How is it now?
Yeah, now it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So I was just telling a little bit about the essence of mudras. So like there is a way of attaining energy, there is also a way of losing energy, right? So mudras are actually formed to preserve the energy in the body, because there was an understanding by the yogis that there are certain channels through which the energy can exit your body, and it necessarily doesn't always have to be in your control, right? So when you form hand mudras, you join particular fingers together, so those are the points from which the energy is kind of escaping, right? So we are not necessarily always aware, or we are not necessarily always making a conscious effort to lose that energy. However, it does go out of the body. So for the yogi, it's very important to preserve this, again, because you know the energy that the yogi has, they have to work on lifting that up, right? So upward movement of the energy. So if they keep losing that energy again and again, then they will again go 10 steps back, then walk 10 steps ahead. So the entire process will go in neutralizing whatever they have lost. So but we are aiming to actually go beyond that. So there are certain ways in which you form certain energetic connections in the body, and those gestures, when you perform those gestures, those are actually called mudras, to keep that energy in the body so that you can work with that same energy and give it an upward force. Okay, various ways to form mudras. And once again, each mudra has its own relevance. However, mudras are a very, very advanced practice. So before you get established in asanas and pranayamas, do not go ahead and perform mudras. Why? Because now you're working on a very subtle level. So if you cause some disturbance or you do not perform it correctly, the repercussions will also be at the same level, very deep level. So that is why it's good to understand what mudras are, how you have to do them. However, if you do not do them properly, they can also harm you very easily. Okay, so always perform mudras under the guidance of a teacher, a guru, and do not ever just perform that just like that. Okay, you are working with a very deep part, a very subtle part of your existence, and because it is so subtle, it is so delicate, you need to take proper care of it. Okay, so guys can go ahead, read about mudras, and if you have any doubts, you can get back to me, and I will be more than happy to help you and sort your issues. However, because of course, lack of time also, and this is actually the main thing which needs to be very clear to you, what mudras are. So if you have any doubts in the future, you can definitely get back to me and ask anything, everything that you want to know. But I will be ending your sessions with just a very brief introduction of mudras. Any doubts in anything we have discussed today? Any
For
doubts?
no, thank you.
Doubts? Okay, so let's end today's session then. Yeah.
Were you going to tell us what the assignments are?
Oh yeah, assignments I forgot. Okay, so for philosophy, you guys can go ahead and look for any topic that you are really interested in, which is somewhere connected to any of the things we have discussed in yoga. Like anything so far that I have discussed in your philosophy classes, if even if suppose some religion or some tradition has even one or two limbs of yoga, like yam or niyam, or maybe asana practices there, anything that you like, which interests you, you can choose that topic, and you have to write down about that thing. Minimum word limit for you is 500 words. So you can, this is your philosophy assignment. Okay. Feel free to choose your topics. Timeline for you is by the end of this month, like the remaining days when you are not having your classes, you have 4-5 days, so you can go ahead, complete your assignment in this amount of time. It's just a 500-word assignment, so it shouldn't take very long. And you can just email it to us again, vinyasaindia@gmail.com. That's the email ID. Most of you would, and I presume all of you would have that email ID. Sorry. Yeah, so you can go ahead and do that. For pranayam, what you can do is, for pranayam, you can choose a particular thing that interests you and see what impact pranayam has on that. Okay, so suppose for some people, they are very interested in particular diseases, right? So you can choose, it's up to you. You can choose any pranayam also. I'm not restricting you just to choosing one pranayam. You can choose any pranayam. And then what you can do is you can see its connection with that disease, or just give me a second.
You're muted.
Yeah. Okay. So for pranayam, so suppose you have been playing a particular sport throughout your life, right? So you would want to see how pranayam is having an impact on that. So you can feel free to choose anything. It necessarily doesn't have to be a disease. Anything that you are interested in, A thing, and B thing is your pranayam. So any pranayam you can choose, and you can find the connection between both of them. Okay. So that is your second assignment. Look for researches. Okay, I want researches rather than just random articles or Google clicks. I want you to take out a research paper on connecting these two things and just summarize that research paper. So there is no word limit for this. Okay, you can feel free. If you want to go for a long elaborated version, you can take that. And if you want to go for a very short, just summarizing that research, go ahead and do that. However, it is very important that you connect both the things, and the research should be authentic. So you have to mention the year, the journal, or at least link the website along with your that whatever assignment or summary that you're creating. Just provide a link to that research, or you can go ahead and write down the journal, the year, the page number, all of that, all of those details. Okay, so these are your two assignments that you have to do. Any doubts in any of these?
Do we get any?
Sorry, go on, Rue.
No, go ahead, Ray.
Will we get confirmation that you've received them? Because I've sent all my assignments through already. I'm not sure that they're appropriate or correct, but so I don't know. Will we get confirmation?
See, yeah, internet has been out for 2 days, and before that, I was actually immersed in some work which was really high priority, so I wasn't able to give the assignments a lot of time. I have received your assignment, and I did not get a chance to go through it though. So
Right.
let me go through it, and then I will get back to you.
You might want me to change my philosophy one.
I will have to go through it. Before that, I can't say anything.
Okay.
I'll go through it and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
My question was quite similar. I just wondered if we get any feedback or anything, any comments.
Yeah, if I feel that there is some feedback that you need to have, I will definitely write back to you. Otherwise, it's just submitted. So it's not going to be like the theory paper where I am responding back to you with the result or anything. If it is okay, you might like, I would not be responding. I'm just going to take it. If there is anything that I would like you to change, or if there is something that you should be adding, I will write you an email back.
Okay.
Apart from that, I won't.
Okay, but you'll probably you might just sort of send a message to say that you've received it, and if you have, then at least we know you've got it. And then
I will try.
yeah.
I will try. I will try that.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm not very sure. I cannot promise right now. I will
Okay.
try.
Okay, and just a silly, maybe just a bit of this trivial question, but I just wondered, can we send all the emails in, sorry, all the assignments in one email in one batch, or
Yeah,
do you
we
want
can.
it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I will get all of them done together, but I just wondered. Okay, thank
That's
you.
okay.
Hey, teacher. Yeah, my question is just addition to Ruth and Ray. So just want to check, are those assignments are graded? Is it somehow added to our final or practical test and theory test, or how is it work?
These assignments are for your own development. Okay, there is no compulsion that we place on submitting the assignments. Okay, however, it is very good for your own growth. That is why we have started the Zoom classes and this thing also, where we are giving assignments for your own development. However, the main thing for your certification is your theory and your practical exam. The final exams are going to be main for you. These assignments are just, like on the way, you get certain homework. So this is just like that.
Okay, okay. So in regards to that, the theory exam, how we will know we are already ready to do it? Your contact.
Whenever you feel ready, yeah, whenever you have completed, like when you complete the pre-recorded videos, you have, now we have started the Zoom sessions also, so you can utilize 1 month to just attend the Zoom classes. So whenever you feel ready that now all the concepts are clear to you, you have, maybe gone through the manual also. Ideally, we prefer when students.
Okay, so we will initiate and contact you.
Yes, you will
Okay.
contact me. That is when I will be sending you the question paper. Before that, I will not be sending the question paper randomly. When students contact, that is when we share the question paper.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Does that have to be within the 3 months or something? The test paper, the theory test.
Yes, the
Okay.
theory and practical exam within 3 months. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any more doubts? Okay, great. Yeah. No doubt. Okay, great.
So is this this is the final,
I guess-
this is the final session then? So
This is
Okay.
the final session. So all of your classes are concluded. This is the last session you have as live classes. So we'll be restarting next month again. So don't worry about it. If you feel like joining, you can feel free to join. It's always open for you guys. Just join the link whenever you find time. There is no restriction. Yeah, that 1 month you have attended, so next month you cannot. Please feel free to join if you still feel like learning more and staying connected. Yeah, you would have, okay, anatomy tomorrow morning. Okay, anatomy I did not know about. I know about like other classes. So other ones I think are all completed for you guys.
are they, sorry to interrupt. I just wondered, so the alignment class is also not going ahead today either?
I don't think
You don't
so.
think so?
I'll confirm once, but I do not think so because we have had the closing ceremony. Everything has been closed over here for
Oh, I
this month.
see.
Like,
Okay.
all the classes are done. Today closing ceremony for offline is also done. So we end the
Okay.
Zoom sessions in accordance with that only. Yeah.
Okay.
I
We,
had
we
to complete my course, so that is why I kept the class.
Yeah, no, thank you. We also thought that the classes hadn't finished with the yeah, with the teacher. He, yeah, so we were not really sure because he said that he would see us on Friday, so we were all looking forward to having a lesson with him on
Yeah,
Friday.
I know.
So yeah.
I know. I think 1 or 2 students contacted me also today because we had the ceremony and it went on for really long. So afternoon class wasn't able to happen. I will ask Rahul sir once, but I do not think today we are having any more classes. It is not happening.
Okay.
I will post a message in case it is, but
Okay.
from our side, we have closed all the classes like for this month.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, but I didn't do any assignments
Yeah.
because I didn't know. So I will do philosophy and pranayama. But what about anatomy or Ayurveda or any classes?
And okay, Ayurveda, I will be posting. I think you do not have, yeah, and for anatomy, that sir will only be able to tell you. Like, so you can ask him tomorrow when you have your class. Okay. Yeah, I cannot hear
Okay.
him. Yeah. Okay. So with
When I
this,
want
I will
to get the theory, so I will text you, right?
yes, you can.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
always reach out to me. I'm your person of contact for anything like related to online courses. So you can always reach out to me. Feel free to do that, and I will be happy to help you. Okay.
Thank you.
So with this, let me close your session with just one Om Shanti. Really happy to have all of you guys for the online sessions and join all of our classes. And it was a really nice experience. And we hope to see you very soon. Like, and in our future classes also, we hope to see you having brilliant students. And keep working and keep practicing, keep continuing on your path. And it's a beautiful path, so just keep working. Yeah, so from my side, this is officially I'm closing the classes. So namaste to everybody and thank you very much. Yeah, so
Thank you, teacher.
bye bye.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Namaste.
Namaste.